alongside SC Romero, Justin Taylor, and this week's guest, Noah Green. I'm Tommy Harvey. Tonight, we are going to dive into looking at Devy relevant players in the Pac-12, plus some Devy news. All that will be coming up right now. How you guys doing tonight?
Good.
Doing great.
Doing good, my man.
Awesome. Hey, before we jump into a little bit of Devy news, do us a favor and everybody hit the thumbs up and subscribe. As always, if you'd like to know when we go live, just make sure you also hit that notification bell. A little bit of Devy news to start off the show tonight. Seydou Traore has committed to play wide receiver at Mississippi State. That I know he wanted to play that at Colorado, and he felt kind of tricked into going there. So now he has moved on to Mississippi State.
He was a tight end, right? At Colorado?
He was a tight end. Yeah, he was a tight end. Transferred to Colorado to play wide receiver, and then they kind of told him, "Hey, you're going to play tight end here too." He didn't like that, so he transferred to Mississippi State.
Nice.
Originally from Arkansas State, correct?
Correct. Originally at Arkansas State with old Butch Jones down there. Also here, 4-star quarterback Damon Williams Jr. has decommitted from Ole Miss. Indications are he is trending towards Arizona. And 5-star wide receiver Cam Coleman has committed to Texas A&M. Those are a couple of guys to look for in your Devy drafts for next year, particularly Cam Coleman at Texas A&M. Well, let's move on to our final category here. Tight ends.
This conference doesn't like them very much.
No, they don't have a whole lot of them. Let's throw up this list here. Your top one is Deuce Robinson.
Yeah,
I think that's pretty consensus.
After that, in the college field, yeah, you know.
Yeah, and hadn't even stepped on campus. As a matter of fact, everybody was scared because last night was the start of the MLB draft. Everybody was kind of scared he was going to get high draft capital and sign with a baseball team. Doesn't look like that's going to be the case now. So it looks like he is going to go to USC. But after Deuce Robinson, it kind of falls off quite a bit, and you have a bunch of guys here kind of in that same kind of territory. You know, Walker Lyons, another freshman wide receiver at Southern Cal, Jalen Conyers at Arizona State, Benjamin Urosic at Stanford, Brent Keith at Utah, Thomas Yasmin at Utah, Terrence Ferguson, Oregon, Keon Burnett, Arizona, and Kenyon Sadiq at Oregon. I just think a lot of these guys are a lot of the same once you get past Deuce Robinson and maybe Walker Lyons.
I agree 100%. It's just it's not sexy. It's not anything that I'm like, oh man, I need to have some of this. Deuce Robinson is great. You know, I think that the role revolves around Caleb Williams this year, right? Is he going to be this guy? And someone that could be on that receiving end, like we were talking about these wide receivers, for all we know, Deuce Robinson could be his best friend and just skyrocket the draft boards, you know, your Devy drafts. Yep. So, you know, it's kind of to the point where it's like I'm just taking the weapons of Caleb Williams because I don't know which one is going to take the biggest step forward while they still have Caleb Williams. Yeah,
you know, in my opinion, at tight end, you're looking for physical freaks, right?
Yep.
You know, and Deuce Robinson is that physical freak. He is what, you know, Kyle Pitts. He is, you know, he's kind of, you know, TJ Hawkinson in that kind of territory. I just think Deuce Robinson is probably the only guy I'm targeting in a Devy draft from the Pac-12.
In a 5-round Devy draft, I would not. Yeah, he's the only guy who might slip in.
Yeah.
the top 5, 100%.
A guy kind of like is I like Jalen Conyers, but I'm always tough about taking tight ends and Devy if they're not named Brock Bowers. I mean, it's so hard to take tight ends and Devy. I do want to do a quick shout out. Blake Walters, my guy from Muhammad Seymour High School, pitcher, went number 44 in the draft last night to the Kansas City Royals. So super pumped about him. Gatorade Player of the Year out of my small town of Muhammad, Illinois. Went 44, highest player ever drafted in Major League Baseball from our school. 44 to the Royals last night. He's committed to Arizona, so it'll be interesting to see if he ends up going to University of Arizona or signs with the Royals. But just wanted to do a quick shout out at him while we were talking about Deuce Robinson, great pitcher out of Muhammad, Illinois. But Conyers is a guy I like. I like his upside, but I always feel like I just really don't want to take Devy tight ends for the most part. I like guys at C2C. I'll take a chance on a guy, hoping he gets a high draft capital and that he kind of just a bonus for me. But outside of that, I'm probably almost always not taking a guy in Devy. It's too often you see these guys get moved to defensive end or they play a different spot or you just never kind of know how they're going to hit. And I always bring it up in my 1-2-C2C league. You know, when we go the first, second round, which we always know those are depleted on the NFL side because you own everybody in college. The top 5 guys drafted were all tight ends.
Yeah.
Because those guys who didn't have huge college production, but then got, first, second, third round draft capital in the NFL drafts in a tight end premium league. So I'm always willing to let those guys fall to me. And if I'm in a league like that, you can get those guys pretty cheap. I mean, a lot of my rookie drafts, I was still getting Kraft. I'm still getting Britton Strange. I was getting a bunch of those guys in the very last round of tight end premium league. So that's where, for me as a Devy player, unless it's, like I said, unless it's Brock Bowers, I'm probably not going Devy almost any time unless it's a super deep Devy draft.
That's
right.
right.
My Devy supplemental draft, the top 3 were Kincaid, Mayer, Laporta. I mean, you're in Devy drafts. I mean, C2C, you can get them because it's, you just need college production. But in Devy drafts, I mean, Brock Bowers is really all I'm taking in the Devy draft as tight end.
Yeah, Bowers is a unicorn. That's just.
But Deuce Robinson has that body build where maybe next year we're taking him in our Devy draft. You're not, because this year, as we said earlier, he hasn't stepped on the field, but maybe next year it's like, oh wait, this is another Brock Bowers, just an elite talent that's coming out. So it is very possible he gets on the Devy board, but just right now I need to see some production.
Yeah, I mean, guys, you could see, like, I could see Brant Keith going in. I could see, Brant Keith. I mean, Dalton Kincaid was beating out Dalton Kincaid before he went down, and he let Dalton Kincaid show up, and then Kincaid works his way into being a first-round pick. Keith is very talented. I could see him working his way in. That doesn't mean I'm taking him in the first 5 rounds, but he might be a guy who's going in the first round of Devy depleted supplemental drafts next year. I'm keeping an eye on Kenyon Sadiq for the same reasons. He is not Deuce, but he has a freak athletic profile. He played all over the field in high school. He played running back, played wide receiver. He is really fast, really big, enrolled early, got into that weight room early, and has Ferguson solid, but like Sadiq could get in there as a freshman. And if I'm not mistaken, Ferguson's coming off injury. So he's got a shot he's a guy I'm keeping an eye on. Doesn't mean I'm taking him in the first 5 rounds of Devy drafts, but keep an eye on.
To kind of jump on my point earlier, the only time I'm probably taking some of these tight ends and Devy is if I'm in like a heavy tight end premium league or a start 2 tight end. So if I'm in a start 2 tight end 2.0, then I'm going to go, okay, maybe I look at the guy from Utah. Maybe I'm like, okay, well, if I'm not deep on my NFL squad, I'm like, I need a good starting tight end, and they go high in the drafts, then maybe that's where I'm kind of taking I'm taking a shot at some of these guys because I know if they make the regular rookie draft, I'm not going to get those guys early unless I have a real early pick. So that I just wanted to kind of spin that side of things. Is if I am in a bigger tight end start to huge premium type of thing, then I would be taking maybe some shots on some of these guys at the end of Devy's.
One thing that I'm upset about, and I've mentioned it here before, is, man, I was so excited because Dante Moore had committed to Oregon, and then Bo Nix was like, hey, I'm coming back, and he decommitted and went somewhere else. And look at this freshman class they're bringing in, Sadiq, Dickey, Dowdle. If you bring in Dante Moore, this is an exciting offense, and they let him slip. I would have said, Nix, nah, you said you're gone, man, leave. But, yeah, man, I'm upset on that, but it is what it is. We wish them all the best, but the room around Oregon, whatever quarterback, if they get a nice QB, they have some freak athletes there that could make some big moves. So it's exciting to see what's coming in Oregon.
Oh, absolutely. Well, guys, let's see. Looks like we have a comment coming in here. Claude Bishop just says,
Hello,
gentlemen. Well, hey, Claude. How are
Claude?
you?
Hey, Claude.
Glad you're watching.
Yeah, man.
Well, I think that's probably going to do it for tonight. I think that pretty solid right there. Pretty solid ending spot. For again, that it's going to do it for tonight's show. Guys, go ahead and tell us where we're able to find you at.
Go ahead, Noah.
Oh yeah, so I'm at you can see my Twitter handle right here at Noah_FF_green. Always open for questions, ideas. Give me a follow, and look forward to interacting with everybody who was listening.
Find me at the PPR show on Twitter. Write some articles for RPO, doing this Devy content with these guys. Love these guys. Also, shout out the Blow Pop division and SFB, man. Having an interesting draft there. I like it. Some spicy picks, and man, I'm excited for Scott Fishbowl.
Yeah, you can find me at JT Orange on Twitter. Also, JT Brew Stew on Twitter. That's the homepage of my the Stew with JT Brew podcast that we run on the same Dynasty Pros YouTube channel. So you can find my show on there, as well as doing the Devy here with you guys. If you're into IDP, that kind of thing, I have my rankings, all that on DLF. So you can check me out over there. And I'm pumped. Got my hat on. Scott Fishbowl. Last year in the Chicago Live Draft, we were the first to go. This year we're this Sunday, so we're like the last to start. So I'm actually going to see kind of where people have been picking and going, which is going to be really nice because last year we had no idea where anybody was going on any of these drafts because we were the very first draft. So kind of pumped for that. So going to be in Chicago, which is going to be a really good time. Looking forward to it in the Lou Malnati pizza division of the Chicago Live Draft 3. So I'm pumped about that.
That's a great division. I have to then do my Scott Fishbowl 13 shout out to the Katz's Deli Live Division, Live Draft NYC Division. We will be drafting this Saturday. So JT, I'll let you know how it goes.
Nice.
I am so excited. I haven't live drafted anything in I don't know how long, 8 years, something like that. So I am just excited to live draft, man.
Dude, live drafts are the best. I love it. When they came out with the live draft for Scott Fishbowl, I was like, just get me in. I want the live draft. I do 2 home leagues where we live draft, but it's so hard to get people to show up anymore for live drafts. It's just easier to do it online. I still try to do it, but man, nothing beats the live draft. I just always tell people, slow draft, you can strategize a little more, but man, the live draft, you got to be on your toes. You got to be ready to switch your scheme. You got to be able to switch. If 3 tight ends go in a row, you're like, oh, that's where I was going. You got to right there on the spot, switch it up. So I just love the live draft. It's probably not as friendly as far as how your team turns out, but I love the just being around everybody, seeing everybody hang out, and kind of that whole thing of doing it on the spot and being spontaneous. I just love that part of it.
Dynamite. I can't wait.
Well, it looks like Claude has sent in another comment here. Let's go and get through this one. Will Christian Gonzalez be the best corner in this year's draft?
I like Christian Gonzalez a ton. Yeah, I think he's going to be great. I think him falling to the Patriots for his career might have been awesome. It's I think he's I think he's going to end up being that next really like exciting Patriots cornerback. I don't think it could. You know what? I love him way more there than if he would have went to the Raiders. I just think he has so much better potential being in that kind of defensive system with great players around him, where he's not kind of stuck as the one good guy on a bad defense. So I really like his potential, especially on that Patriots landing spot.
Yeah. I really like Christian Gonzalez there also. Don't sleep on Joey Porter Jr. though either.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting because I think we might see some more playing time from him out the gate. So he might get, and then he just might look better early. So I think that's gonna be a heavy start from him for Christian Gonzalez when it comes out, especially in the Belichick defense. I mean, he knows how to utilize those big cornerbacks. So I think they'll put him in there, and he's gonna go against some top receivers. So it's gonna be fun seeing just how he can dominate against some of these top athletes in the NFL right now.
Sure thing.
He does.
All right, guys. I think that's going to do it for tonight's show. For more content, head on over to DynastyProsFootball.com. Thanks for tuning in. Also, if you haven't done so already, hit that thumbs up and subscribe. For SC, JT, and Noah, I'm Tommy Harvey. We shall see you guys next time.